The mirror shows someone familiar, but the reflection feels like a stranger wearing your face. There was a moment, years ago maybe, when choosing felt effortless, when your body knew what it wanted before anyone else could whisper their expectations into your ear. But that person, the one who said yes because she meant it, and no without rehearsing apologies, has become a ghost in your own life. Somewhere between becoming helpful and becoming invisible, you lost track of where they ended and you began. And now there is this strange, heavy feeling that follows you everywhere. Not quite sadness, not quite anger, something deeper. Grief. You are grieving someone. But it is not someone who died. It is someone who never got to fully live. The version of you that wanted things, that had preferences, that said no without apologizing, that took up space without shrinking. That version is still in there, somewhere, folded so small you can barely feel her anymore. And the grief of that, the mourning of a self you abandoned to keep everyone else comfortable, that is what we are here to talk about today. Here is what happened. At some point in your life, maybe early, maybe gradually, you learned that your worth was conditional, that love was something you had to earn by being helpful, agreeable, low maintenance. Your needs became inconvenient. Your preferences became selfish. Your boundaries became rude. So you did what any intelligent, survival-oriented person would do. You adapted. You became the person everyone needed you to be. And it worked. People praised you for being so easygoing, so accommodating, so selfless. You became the reliable one, the one who never complained, the one who could be counted on to say yes, to smooth things over, to put everyone else first. And somewhere in that process, you learned to ignore your own signals. The tightness in your chest when you said yes but meant no. The exhaustion that came from performing emotional labor you did not have capacity for. The quiet resentment that built like sediment at the bottom of a river. This is what psychologists call self-abandonment. It is not the same as selflessness. Selflessness comes from fullness, from choice. Self-abandonment comes from fear. Fear that if you showed up as you actually are, with needs, with limits, with desires, you would be too much, or not enough, so you preemptively erased yourself. You became a mirror, reflecting back what others wanted to see, and for a while it felt like safety. But here is the cost that no one talks about. When you abandon yourself to keep others close, you lose access to your own aliveness. Your preferences atrophy, your desires go quiet. You stop knowing what you actually want because wanting has been punished for so long. And then one day, you look around at your life, at the job you tolerate, the relationships you manage, the routine you maintain, and you realize none of this feels like yours. It feels like a life you are performing in, not inhabiting. And that realization brings grief. Not the loud, dramatic kind, the quiet kind, the kind that sits in your chest and makes you feel homesick for a version of yourself you barely remember. The grief of realizing how much you have given away, how many years you have spent being who others needed you to be instead of who you actually are. So let us talk about what this looks like in the relationship that matters most, the one with yourself. You wake up in the morning and the first thought is not, what do I need today? It is, what does everyone else need from me? You scan your mental checklist, emails to send, people to please, fires to put out, your own needs, rest, nourishment, joy. Those go at the bottom of the list, if there is time, if there is energy left, which there never is. You spend your lunch break solving someone else's crisis. You spend your evening managing someone else's emotions. You go to bed exhausted, not from your own life, but from carrying everyone else's. And in those rare quiet moments, in the car, in the shower, in the space between sleep and waking, you feel her, that younger version of you, the one who had dreams that were not about being useful, the one who laughed without calculating whether it was too loud, the one who said, I do not want to, without following it with an apology and a justification. If this is resonating with you, give this video a thumbs up, and you grieve her. You grieve the girl who wanted to be an artist but became an accountant because it was practical. The girl who loved to travel but stayed home because leaving felt selfish. The girl who had opinions but learned to say, I do not mind, whatever you want, because disagreeing felt dangerous. You grieve every time you swallowed your truth to keep the peace, every time you smiled through discomfort to avoid conflict, every time you said yes when your whole body was screaming no. But here is what makes this grief so complicated. You are not just mourning who you were. You are mourning who you could have been. The version of you that never got to unfold. The life you might have lived if you had been allowed to take up space without apology. If you had been taught that your needs mattered, that your voice deserved to be heard, that your existence alone, not your usefulness, not your agreeableness, but simply your existence, was enough. And sometimes the grief feels so big you do not know what to do with it. So you do what you have always done. You push it down. You tell yourself it is not that bad, that you are being dramatic, that other people have it worse. You minimize your own pain the same way you have minimized your own needs for years. Because allowing yourself to feel the full weight of what you have lost, that feels unbearable. So let us do something different. Let us not push it down. Let us give that grief the space it deserves. Because grief, when you let it move through you instead of around you, is not the enemy. Grief is the evidence that something mattered. That she mattered. And honoring that grief is the first step to reclaiming her. Here's what I want you to try. Find a quiet moment, just 10 minutes. Get a piece of paper or open your notes app and write a letter to the version of yourself you lost to people-pleasing. Not the version you are now, but the version that got folded up and put away. The one who had desires before they became inconvenient. The one who took up space before she learned it was rude. Start with, I am sorry I lost you. And then let it flow. I am sorry I told you your needs were too much. I am sorry I taught you that love had to be earned. I am sorry I made you disappear to make room for everyone else. I am sorry I abandoned you when you needed me most. Write whatever comes. Do not edit. Do not make it pretty. Just let the grief speak. And then, this is the part that will feel strange. Write back to yourself, from her, from that younger, unfolded version of you. What does she want you to know? What does she need from you now? Maybe she says, I am still here. I have been waiting. Maybe she says, it is not too late. Maybe she says, I forgive you. Now come find me. This exercise is not about fixing yourself. It is not about becoming someone new. It is about coming home to someone who has been there all along. It is about making contact with the parts of you that got buried under years of compliance and seeing if they still have a pulse. And they do. I promise you, they do. Here is the truth that nobody tells you about grief. It is not a sign that you are stuck. It is a sign that you are waking up, that you are no longer willing to live a life where you are the last person who matters, that you are ready to stop performing and start inhabiting. You are not broken for grieving. You are brave, because it takes courage to look at your life and admit, this is not what I wanted. This is not who I am. It takes courage to feel the weight of what you have given away and choose to stop giving. It takes courage to reclaim yourself one small choice at a time. So grieve her. Grieve the years you spent shrinking. Grieve the dreams you postponed. Grieve the boundaries you never set. Grieve the voice you silenced. But do not stop there, because grief, when it is honored, becomes the gateway to reclamation. It becomes the permission to unfold, to take up space, to choose something just because it feels good, to say no without apology, to let your edges show. She is still in there, the version of you that got folded up, and she is waiting. Not for you to be perfect, not for you to have it all figured out, just for you to come back, to choose her, to let her breathe again. That is where we start. That is how we come home. Subscribe for more videos on finding your way back to yourself.